Hey folks, it's Tom, your Frugal Prepper. So today we're going to make some keto mac and cheese. This video is for carnivore Kip who has a real weakness for some mac and cheese, and maybe this will help him. I make this every once in a while, and I let myself have a keto meal on the weekends, and so this is going to be my keto meal. I'm going to make some carnivore mac and cheese. I have some ribs out on the grill, and then we're going to have as a keto dinner. Alright, so the first thing we're going to need is a spaghetti squash. This is going to be the substitute for our pasta. It's not going to be macaroni shaped, but it's still going to taste generally like pasta and be great for macaroni and cheese. So I love spaghetti squash. I grow them in my garden. They store all winter. The easiest plant in the world to grow. They always sprout. They always come up and grow a big plant, and each one grows 3 or 4 spaghetti squash. So now we just have to find us a big knife and try to cut this guy in half. There we go. They are kind of hard to cut in half. You can microwave them, I think, and make them softer. But most of us just cut them in half. This one's a particularly tough one. Oh. I don't have my big knife either, which helps. There we go. So now we just gotta scrape the seeds out of this. Now you just grab you a spoon, start scraping seeds. You can save these seeds and replant them as well. So I usually save the seeds for a couple of them for planting the next year. And you just want to scrape all the seeds out. You don't really care if there's more of that pulpy stuff left, just get all the seeds out. That pulpy stuff is spaghetti squash, and that's what the rest of your spaghetti squash is going to turn into. That one's ready. Now we'll just do this one. So that's clean. So now we just have to place them upside down on a pan. We're gonna bake them in the oven at 350 for about a half hour, maybe 40 minutes if it's a particularly big one. This is a pretty medium-sized one, so a half hour would be plenty. All right, so now we're just going to take and shred us some cheddar cheese. I use a mild cheddar. You can use any cheese you want for this. In fact, it makes a good Parmesan with that, or a good Alfredo with Parmesan. But just shred this up. I don't buy my cheese shredded because, well, I do when I have some, but I try to limit that now because shredded cheese has potatoes in it, believe it or not. So you're better off to shred your own. And we'll just keep rubbing this, and we'll shred this up, and we'll shred quite a bit. Make it really good. Good and cheesy. So I'll be back when I get done shredding this and this. Alright, so our oven is preheated, so we're going to go ahead and slide in our spaghetti squash. And we're going to set that for 30 minutes. And we're going to let that cook. Alright, so now we're just going to put some heavy whipping cream in our pan. Just a little bit there. And we're going to go ahead and turn this on. We're just going to turn on a nice low heat. We don't want to really like boil it or burn it. We just want to heat it up. And get this. We're going to get some about half a stick of butter or so. Put that in there. Then we're going to take some cream cheese. And let me get a knife. Watch out. Oh my God. And I'm probably going to use about half of this cream cheese. You can use the whole thing if you want to. If you want it more cheesy like that. We'll just open this up. We'll just use about half of it here. Wrap the rest of this back up, put it in the fridge, and now we'll just let this heat up, and then we'll put the cheddar cheese in there last. Alright, so now we're ready to add most of our cheese, but we want to leave some to put over the top of this when we bake it. So we can go ahead and put most of our cheese in here. And that's good enough to sprinkle over the top when we give it a final baking. The other thing I like to add is just a little mustard, brown mustard. Just gives it a little extra flavor. And now you can just kind of stir this cheese in here, and you'll let it just melt down. And so needs a little salt. I'm going to use some Redmond's real salt. We'll stir that in there too. You can see what this is looking like so far. And the rest of that's just going to melt down real good. And we're going to go ahead and get our spaghetti squash out while this sits over low heat and gets more liquefied. Then we'll get the spaghetti squash out and we'll mix that all together. So our spaghetti squash is ready to come out. There it is. And we're gonna go ahead and turn our oven back on to 350 or so. So we'll go ahead and bake. 50 start. We'll let that heat back up. And then we'll go ahead and get these spaghetti squash spaghetti-fied. Alright, so now we just take our spaghetti squash, flip it over, be careful, it's still pretty hot. And now we're just going to go down through here and start peeling this out with a couple of forks. Yeah, it just makes a nice pasta-like substance. This is only 6 grams of carbs for a cup. So this is nice and low carb. Then squash carbs have a lot of pectin, so they don't give you nearly the glycemic. They don't have nearly the glycemic impact. They're a very slow acting carb. Maybe just clean them both out like so. That's good enough for that one. We'll get rid of this little burnt piece here. We got that one. Now we'll get the other one. We'll get this one and clean it out. Done with that one. Now we have our spaghetti squash here, and we are ready to go ahead and stir in our cheese mix. And now we're ready to go ahead and stir this in. Stir that up, mix it up. Might be a tad too much cheese, but it'll be good. It already is. It needs a little more salt. Now we're ready to go ahead and put this in a pan and bake it. Here. Alright, so now we're ready to go ahead and put this in a Pyrex. We'll get our rest of our cheese and sprinkle over that. Alright, we'll go ahead and put this in the oven at 350 and we'll let it cook for a little while and kind of set up. And it's going to be pretty delicious. I should have had a little bigger spaghetti squash or a little less cheese mix, but you know, it is what it is. Alright, so I baked it for about 10 minutes at 350, then put it on the broiler at 525 for a few minutes, and it should be nice and brown and crispy on top. Oh yeah, look at that. Alright, so I got my mac and cheese. It's right here. I'll go ahead and just get a bowl of that. It's probably a little too much cheesy sauce, but it'll be good. That looks good. So, and then I got me some ribs that I made slow cooked out on the grill for about 3 hours. And they're just falling apart. I couldn't even get them out of the foil wrapper without them coming apart. So we'll just put some extra pepper on these, a little salt, a little extra salt in there. And now we're ready to eat. Let's try this. That's pretty good. Wow. Yeah, I'll try some ribs here. Wow. You haven't lived till you've eaten real food on a ketovore type of diet. The crap that you get at McDonald's and baked from boxes and cakes and cookies just doesn't compare. Alright, I'll see y'all later. This is Tom, your Frugal Prepper.